What's up, Jen?
Not much. How are you?
I don't know. I don't know. Sun's out, guns out. Is that what's happening?
Yes, that's what's
Okay,
happening. Coming from Michigan, it's way warmer here than it is at home. So I am just soaking it all up.
Okay. Okay. What's the weather there?
I think it was like 9 yesterday.
Degrees?
Yeah.
You said 9. Like what the time?
9.
Okay.
Just straight 9. I
Okay.
think.
Okay. Cool. Cool. So we're here in Austin.
Yes.
Have you been here before?
No, never.
Really? So what are you looking forward to?
I already had tacos.
Okay.
So that was my big to do. But otherwise, I'm just really looking forward to IntelliCON.
Yes. Right on. No, I feel that. Tacos. Tiffany had some tacos yesterday. She had some tacos. She took a bite and she was like, "Why is it hot?" Did you?
I was taking like silly video for social media because I forget I have tacos all the time, but I make them.
Okay.
And so then when I actually go somewhere that makes really good tacos, I had to like sit with my tongue out of my mouth because I was just dying.
Oh my gosh.
I'm such a wimp though.
So is she.
Yeah.
She had to like keep dipping it. Was it sour cream? She was like, "This is the only way I can do it. Is
That's the
sour
move.
cream." Yeah.
In sour cream, guac, hopefully to cool it down.
Yep.
Or milk.
I don't know how adults drink milk. Let's not even get into that at all. Period.
Nope.
No? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So IntelliCON, tell me a little bit about that because you're going to be a speaker at IntelliCON. What's your talk going to be about?
Yes. So my talk is going to be about a process that I created because we were trying to automate intel coming in from all sorts of different places. Obviously, you can't read every piece of news or OSINT that comes your way, and move that into some actionable intelligence for our threat hunters. We were also tasked with using AI, which when it comes to CTI, it's a lot of talking or slacking or discording with people and getting to know the threat landscape and figuring out what's happening to other companies or similar orgs. So utilizing AI with a lot of hallucinations and not trusting it to get the intel right, we had to kind of use keyword matching, good old fashioned, like, does it even say the actor's name in the article first? Then we can kind of turn to AI and be like, help me figure out if this article is relevant. So my talk is just going to be this flow that I kind of built. Oh, I built it in our tip. But
okay. Wait, hold on. For the noobs who don't know what a tip is, what that is?
That is our threat intelligence platform.
Okay.
So that is kind of our one, I know this phrase is way overused, single pane of glass. It kills me to say it. Our one platform where all of the intel from different feeds coalesces, and then we can kind of filter it down from there. I built it in their playbook builder. It's just like a no-code solution. But I started doing this talk and I'm like, not everybody has a tip. People come to conferences that aren't in CTI. They aren't in cybersecurity. They just want to learn things. So while I was making the presentation and taking all my screenshots, I was like, this isn't helpful. So I then used AI again, kind of realized another use case for it in CTI. I turned to Cursor and was like, can you please help me write this Python script to do exactly what I did in this tip so that people can actually use it? So be gentle. I am not a developer by trade, but there is an open source script available. It's on my GitHub. I have all the QR codes in the world in the presentation tomorrow.
Okay.
So
okay.
That way people can actually take something. That is what I look for in presentations at conferences. I want to take something and be able to use it in my org. So hopefully, like I said, be gentle if anybody looks at it too closely and give me feedback because I want to improve it.
Okay, if you're a developer, be gentle.
Yes.
Yes, because I know some like software developers and engineers who go and look at code, they're airing, oh, it's just slop. It's just slop.
Yes.
If it works, who cares?
It was so hard for me because I want to acknowledge that this is vibe coded.
Okay, yeah, totally.
I don't want to put out there that I'm a Python developer. No. I can read it. It's just like any language. I feel like I can read it.
Yeah.
But I can't speak it very well.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hide or pretend I built this by scratch.
Yeah. And why?
But yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I just want to be fully transparent. If there are vulnerabilities, please tell me. Please don't exploit them.
Yeah, but to your point, so Tiffany and I, this is like totally random, but Tiffany and I keep talking about like with the rise of AI and vibe coding, where are software engineers and software developers going to fall? But I think that right there is going to be the niche, like going and being those people who look for those vulnerabilities and patch it. Like I feel like
Yes.
that's going to be where the money's at here
Oh my gosh.
pretty soon. Although I will say I'm noticing that AI and vibe coding platforms are also doing a really good job with integrating that as well, the
Yes.
security scanning and then yeah. So anyways, I feel like I'm discouraging now.
No, not at all. That's another thing I want to make sure like to hit home that we still need people.
Period.
We need people.
Period. And you mentioned that in your talk, I believe, because I did read the description, and that's
Yes.
one of the things you mentioned is like you can't automate the folks out. Like you just can't. We low key we tried, but you can't do it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Okay, so before we continue jumping into like AI and CTI, I was, you got to internet stalk people before you talk to them. So
Obviously.
you had like a really untraditional route in the cyber threat intelligence. I think you have your degree in what is it, rehabilitation psychology?
Nailed it. Yes.
Ugh, look at me
Thank
today.
you.
Yes.
Yes.
So how did you end up in CTI land?
Such a good question because it was really weird. Which I know a lot of people say they kind of fall backwards into cybersecurity, but nowadays there are so many boot camps, so many certs that you can take and kind of have a good idea of what to know to get to a certain place. I'm trying to think how far back I should even go, but majored in rehab psych, was going to major in athletic training, and then
Like, okay, because
oh, hey,
that makes
thanks.
sense.
Had to take physics and was like, oh, okay, no, we're done with this. So moved into rehab psych, graduated from University of Wisconsin, go Badgers. Moved into a role where I did in-home care, and I was working like 80 hours a week. I had to do overnights because there were clients that would have seizure protocols. So that was my job, is working in homes and caring for adults with disabilities.
How many hours are there in a week?
Right? So
Okay, wow.
it was a lot. I went through a lot of, and this is going to age me, I went through a lot of Redbox DVDs watching
All right.
and making sure seizures didn't happen. But I talked to a friend from my high school, and he's like, I work at the Apple store. We don't need people that are tech wizards right out of the gate. We need empathetic people. That's how they were hiring. They're like, we need somebody to talk to customers and be like, it's you and me versus this thing. We're not defending a computer here. Like me and you, whatever the issue is, we're going to tackle this together. So got into the Apple store. Originally, they were like, you're in the family room, which was the back of the store. And I was like, does that mean I'm so bad you want me like in the back? And they're like, no, that's like the back where you troubleshoot things. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. So started learning how to troubleshoot Apple products. After a while in Madison, Wisconsin, there is a SaaS company, Zendesk, where I work. And a lot of the geniuses from the Apple store in Madison went to the SaaS company.
Okay.
So started doing IT there and then helped out on some incidents. And it was very reminiscent of like a Saturday at the Apple store.
Really? Everybody freaking out?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, like in my zone, like, let's go. The ADHD was so happy in this incident. And so loved it and was like, I'd like to try security. Started out in the SOC. I think we were 6 at the time, wore a lot of different hats. We're now 33 in our SOC.
Wow. Can we run that back real quick? Let me
Please.
So there were 6 of you in a SOC.
Yes.
And what year was this? I'm not trying to age you like for what
No,
year is
please.
this?
2018.
So I asked that question because I'm thinking about alert fatigue and like okay, so based on that experience and today, going through those events, looking at those alerts, how has it changed? Like, are you still seeing, because I'm over here like, I can only imagine.
Oh, yeah. And this is going to, I want to be totally like upfront with my experience too. I had no experience.
Okay.
I was taking every alert because I wanted to learn. And I asked in 2018, I'm like, what's sudo? What were you doing? What is this? And developers were like, and I'm like, I just want to learn and absorb everything.
Yeah.
So I was taking so many alerts. But to your point about alert fatigue and like what we're seeing today, all comes back to AI too. We have a platform, I know there are several. I mean, every sim is trying to incorporate AI that are trying to intelligently help with alert fatigue, but it's still there.
Of course. Yeah.
It's still there. There are still so many false positives or AI changes something and over the weekend the data normalization changed, so that doesn't work anymore. I'm like, oh, okay. Noted.
That's rough too. Like if your data gets messed up, especially like people. Okay, so we could dig into this a little bit, not too much though, because it's a rabbit hole. But I'm just kind of like, when you talk to newer people, especially, and you're talking about like EDR, do they know the difference between like EDR and XDR, right? And this is just talking about data, normalization across the board, right? EDR, your hosts, your workstations, all that stuff. Well, then when you think about XDR, we're talking about multi-domain, right? Zeek network logs and everything else in between.
Yeah.
So if your data, if you're not able to correlate that across common fields, you're missing stuff.
Totally.
You're
100%.
missing stuff. So like, are you saying that like you guys occasionally see stuff like that happening, or and when that happens, how does it kind of impact your visibility?
A huge issue when it happens. It doesn't happen a ton. I do remember at one point, I mean, you have to be on top of all of your log sources and their news essentially. Like if Windows decides to log differently, they're going to put out an update or a blog post, and we need to be following that and be like, oh, shoot, that no longer correlates.
Yeah.
And our alerts are based on that field. That field is now called this. Shoot.
Yeah.
We have implemented, and it's a constant struggle, detections for your detections.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you've seen too, because you can normalize or get like a baseline and then say, oh, we haven't actually seen an alert in a week on this. We should look into this. But sometimes alerts don't fire every week.
That's true.
So what have you seen or done to hopefully mitigate if somebody changes their logs, you don't get impacted as hard?
That's a good question. Like, what do you do? That's a really good question. And so I'm talking about it from a perspective. So I always tell people now, I work adjacent to cybersecurity.
Okay.
I don't work in cybersecurity anymore. I do tech pre-sales, right?
Oh, nice.
Yes. But something I see a lot, right? Because whenever you have a SIM, for instance, you're developing some sort of schema. And a lot of those platforms, as you know, they have a lot of out of the box rules that align with that schema. So as soon as one of those fields change, that rule breaks or whatever. Yep. So honestly, I don't know. We were just talking to people about this, and it's like, this might sound like it sucks, but something you should be doing pretty much at least weekly is making sure your data aligns to your schema.
Yes.
Because that's the way, you know what I mean? That's
Yes.
the way to go ahead and approach it. That's the only way, in my opinion. So I don't know, maybe we could get some type of ML integrated into things that can just like organically fix it, use some agentic AI to make things happen.
Truly, because it is scary all of a sudden when things are quiet and you're like, should be that quiet. Like, we're good. We're not that good, maybe.
You see perspective, because I'd be like, it's a slow day.
Right? I'd be like, what's wrong?
Okay. And we need people like you, not people like me, but that's fine. All right. So, okay, let's talk about you have a blog and you do speaking engagements, right? So obviously you like to share your insight. You like to give back to the community. So to me, that means this is not a 9-to-5 job for you. Like, this is something that's really important, almost like you feel like you have a responsibility to people. So at what point did the job go from, this is super interesting, I want to learn, to, I really feel like I need to give back?
Yeah. Thank you. Good question. So one of the things I did maybe 3 or 4 years ago was joined Cyversity, if you've heard of it. It's a group online, a business, but you pay for a membership, and they do all sorts of trainings and mentorship opportunities, and it's for underrepresented populations in cyber. Awesome. props to Cyversity. But during my time with Cyversity, I had a couple mentors. I mentored somebody, and then my most recent mentor, Brett Tolbert. Shout out to Brett.
Oh, Brett!
You know Brett?
I know Brett. Hi, Brett.
Hi, Brett.
We've been trying to get Brett on the podcast for a little minute now.
Well, now you have somebody else to bother him.
Awesome.
He was the person that was like, you know more than you're letting on. You know more than you're letting on. People want to know this. You look how many people are on LinkedIn, on these social media platforms that are asking, what is this? How do I get into this? What can I be doing? And he is so good at returning to the community and being like, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I found. Like, amazing. So he is one of the big reasons I was like, you're right. I should be giving back to the community. And weirdly enough, TikTok.
Okay.
TikTok is where I have my biggest following. Was it all from cyber? No.
What you been doing on TikTok?
Well, I think I got the majority of my followers because I talk about the Detroit Pistons a lot.
Oh, okay. It's Kate Cunningham is that dude.
I know.
He is.
I love him so much.
Okay.
But I also love Jaden Ivey, and we just traded him.
What?
Yeah.
To where?
But the Bulls, and I'm from Wisconsin, so I'm like,
ugh. What'd they get for that?
It's rough. I wish I could tell you. I was just too sad about Jaden, and I was like, I don't care about who we got. Got two people, and I was like, sorry. I don't think those NBA players are going to watch this, but I don't care about them.
That's crazy work. Okay. Anyway, so it started with TikTok.
Yes. Just kind of having fun with it, talking about cybersecurity. It blossomed, and I was like, oh, people enjoy this. And I'm very slowly creeping onto other platforms. Very slowly. I have a couple videos on Instagram.
Yeah.
I have my Facebook just became a professional Facebook. But between Brett and then Matt J, who owns Voln U, he's amazing and has a huge social media presence. He was like, get on these platforms, talk to people. They want to know what you're doing. And it does feel like the people, Matt, Brett, so many others that help me, I'm like, I need to be doing this for others.
I love that. I love that. And it's cool that you say that because I feel like there's two sides of this. There's the people who in this industry, in the cybersecurity industry, who are like, oh, everyone's a gatekeeper. But then there's the people who are like, no, everyone's so cool and collaborative. So from your perspective, like, cause you started a little minute ago, from when you started to now, like, did you ever have differing opinions? Were you ever like, oh, there's gatekeeping, and now it's like, what's your perspective now?
For sure. I just texted this to Brett like yesterday. The phrase I like to give is, I often didn't feel like I had a place because I didn't do phone freaking in the 80s. Like that was the gatekeeping, like, oh, well, you just started CTI, you're young, you're a woman, whatever. And I felt like I didn't have a place. DEF CON actually made me excited about work.
Okay.
DEF CON is where I went and I was like, oh, everybody is welcome here.
Yep.
I had such an amazing time. Nobody cared what level I was at. Everybody wanted to just share what they know and share their Twitter accounts. Like,
yep.
It was incredible. That was honestly kind of the turning point where I was like, there are communities for me here. You have to find them, and they're getting bigger. But yeah, DEF CON was where I went and was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think DEF CON does a really good job of making sure there's something for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're new and you want to get to the newbie village, you know what I mean? If you're somebody who's not really that technical at all, there's still a space for you. So I like DEF CON. It's a lot of fun.
Me too. When was the last time you went?
We went last year.
Was it fun? I didn't go.
Yeah, it was pretty chill. We spent most of our time in the Blacks in Cyber Village talking to people.
Wait. Kenneth was there the year I went, but was Kenneth there last year?
I didn't see him. You know Kenneth Ellington too? Yes. Hey, Kenneth. He's going to try to take credit for this interview, isn't he? The next time we see kind of, see, I be hooking you up with everybody. You had, okay, all right. But yeah, no, I love hanging out in the Blacks in Cyber because I can just sit there and not do anything all day. Just hang out, talk to people, and then go eat lunch or something. So,
Why don't people come to Blacks in Cyber?
no, people come.
Okay.
People pull up. Don't get me wrong. People pull up. I just don't talk to people.
Oh.
And to me, they have the most comfortable spaces. So I just chill.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I just chill. No,
Awesome.
but people be in there. People, yeah. So shifting a little bit, we kind of touched on it before in regard to you briefly, I think in your talk, hearing me talking about how you automated things and how you found that, you're obviously not able to fully automate people out of it.
Yes.
So from your experience and your perspective, what would essentially be one of the biggest risks of automating things end to end without people involved?
Great question. One of the things in my talk, I even put up screenshots of when we tried to do this. Simple AI prompt. Can you please summarize this article? It was an article from Google Threat Intelligence. It was about a China Nexus actor. And the summary we got, pretty good for the most part. And it said that it was attributed to a Russian threat actor. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. This article is titled China Nexus Threat Actor Exports a CVE. Yeah. Sure enough, it never mentioned Russia, never mentioned the actor. It was like, this is Cold River, Callisto. And I was like, it literally never said that.
That's crazy.
It was really weird. But it did compliment me when I was like, you're wrong. And it was like, you're right. I was like, thanks. Yeah, I Command F'd and didn't find what you told me was in it. I think that is a huge risk. It just completely wrong.
Yeah.
It was just completely wrong. And so if we were to either say be interested in Chinese actors and it was exploiting this Avanti vulnerability and say we use it, ChatGPT wouldn't have passed this to us.
Yep.
It would have been like, that was Russia. You're not concerned about them. So I think that is probably, and hallucinations, I don't know if they'll ever go away.
Yeah.
Getting better.
Yeah.
But you can take that to, as extreme a scale as you want. Sure, maybe we didn't get that article, but it could have extreme implications.
I'm going to tell you the lazy side of what I think about hallucinations. So we were at a talk, I think it was Render, like a couple years ago, and they were like, here's how you avoid AI hallucinations. RAG. Use, supplement it with documents. And I'm like, doesn't that defeat the purpose? Like, the whole thing is I just ask it questions and it gives me, now you're telling me I got to put stuff in it?
Right. And so one of the ways that we're looking to improve the process that we use is more tailored MCP servers. But I was doing, you guys know Cybersecurity Cares too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was doing Cybersecurity Cares and I was listening in and they were like, MCP is already dead. I'm like, okay. So, but it is coming back to, you need more tailored server. You need to feed it exactly what you want. And to your point, okay, well then I'll just go Google. Or I'll Command F in where I need.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'll just do the work myself.
Yes.
The whole point was cognitive offload. I'm trying to be stupid here.
Yes. It's finding that okay, we swung too far that way. We're kind of coming back to it, but where is that where we can cognitively offload, but not have to just go do exactly what we were doing before? Mm-hmm. I don't know where that is, to be honest. I don't know. What do you feel?
I feel nothing.
Fair.
I feel numb inside. I don't know. So like I said, I'm in a grad program right now, cyber psychology, and one of the biggest things the instructor's like, don't use AI. I know if you've used AI, because you probably know this. So when you're doing anything psychology related, you got to read a lot of shit.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
I was just telling Tiffany about this. I was like, on Monday, he'll basically be like, by Friday, have 120 pages read, do a research paper, do a discussion post. And I'm like, ain't nobody got time for that.
No.
Ain't nobody got time. But it's how else do you make sure that you're getting the right information? right? So like it could be so easy to give it to AI. And to your point, AI doesn't always know.
Yeah.
So then what do? Then you're just out here not knowing. So I think honestly, there's this thing going around that younger generations are getting more into single use devices.
Oh.
Right.
Oh,
So
yes.
yeah. So they're getting into single use. They just want the music. They don't want the computer and all. They just, and so I feel like we're going to go back to being like, I want to actually know stuff. I want it to actually be right. I don't want to have to take this extra step to essentially check you to make, because then at that point, I'm still doing the research anyway.
Yep.
So I don't know. I hope that's the way it goes. I hope people care enough about information and about facts. But, you know, you be on TikTok, so you know.
Could you imagine, while you were saying that, the example in my mind, could you imagine if somebody got like a Kindle, but it was only full of like encyclopedias and like some Gen Z was like, oh, this is so cool. I'd be like, yes,
Right?
wonderful.
Right? So you know about encyclopedias?
I mean, way back.
Did you? Oh, I was like, because when I think about that, I laugh because I'm like, I remember growing up, if you had to write a research paper, like,
Yeah.
you were digging into books, like
Yep.
encyclopedias. There was no Google. There was like, you actually had to read books. And sometimes, depending on where you were at, you had to write that with a pencil.
Yep. That's okay. This is like a way off, but I did listen to a podcast where they were talking to teachers and they're like, teachers are saying that kids, it like hurts their hands to hold a pencil for too long now. And like when they're asked to write essays, they're like, can't do it, which is wild. And I want to fully support advancement of technology. Technology is incredible and has done so many amazing things. I do hope that prioritizing truth and knowledge and facts maintains in the new generation. I hope.
Yeah. So like we could get real heady about this, right? So when you think about what is considered fact, right? Because everything we're getting fed, no matter what platform you're looking at, it's bias. It's bias. And the expectation is it doesn't matter where you're getting it from. The expectation is that you believe it. But we have no way to really check it.
No.
I don't know. I had like a meltdown about this the other day. I was like, I don't know what's real.
No, and when you think about, well, okay, what's real is what I saw. Literally, me and you sitting in different places saw different things. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to pass out. Like, to your point, it kind of breaks my brain a little bit.
Yeah, I got somebody on Instagram said I had the most mature response ever to something. So we were talking about it was something weapons related.
Okay.
Right? And I gave my opinion, the person disagreed, said all type of stuff. And I was kind of like, my opinion is shaped by my experiences and my bias, and your opinion is shaped by yours. Right?
100%.
So who's to say who's right or who's wrong? Because your experience wasn't wrong. And so your conclusion can't necessarily, when it comes to this, can't necessarily be wrong. So that's immediately what I thought of when you just said that. But I'm just like, anyways, it just trips me out. I don't like that.
No, and that's what I like to talk about too when we talk about people in cybersecurity and they're like, well, I don't know. I work at XYZ that has nothing to do with cybersecurity. I can't do this. And I'm like, no, that's exactly who we need.
Yeah.
Because we need people with other perspectives to challenge those, not challenge facts per se, but if I'm looking at 3 detections and I'm seeing a behavior that I think is, I don't know, scattered spider, I want somebody who actually spent their career looking at Russia to be like, actually, I think that might be this threat actor, or like this looks like that. I want that so bad. So I welcome all different perspectives. I think we need that in cybersecurity.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's how collaboration happens. Can't happen if everybody thinks exactly the same way.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. So considering your background in, your major, how does that kind of tie into what you do now?
Yeah. I think probably, I wish I had a really good answer for like, how did you get into CTI? Because I was in this SOC and then some people above me, some leaders were like, we need a CTI function. And they were like, you. And then I was whisked away to a SANS course on CTI. I was like,
Okay.
I would like to think that background had something to do with that selection of me being in CTI, because there is so much psychology in CTI, in motivations of threat actors, and thinking about, okay, well, these, again, bringing it back to Scattered Spider, we've seen that there are some young people from the UK. And what you think about, okay, young people in the UK, and then you look at their targets, they're like, yeah, let's do casinos and like huge, like Burger King, like Nike, all of these huge brands. And you're like, okay, that makes sense. That's their perspective. That's what they grew up with. So that's what they know and that's what they go after. Like being able to kind of work backwards like that, I think is crucial, because then you can actually try to profile and create who you think this actor is. Does that make any sense? I
No,
rambled so long.
it makes sense.
Thank
It
you.
makes sense.
Okay.
So like, can you tell if someone's lying?
You know, I won't say yes. However, I can point to so many times in my life where I'm like, everybody loves that person. Why don't I love that person? And then I'm like,
They're a murderer.
and then I slightly feel vindicated, but then I'm also like, ooh.
I mean, I've been there. It's all about vibes for real.
Yes.
It is.
It
Energy's
is.
a thing for sure. So you said something that really stuck out to me, that somebody paid for you to go to a SANS course. They really must have believed in you, because that's like that's like an $8,000 investment.
Yes. Which I don't even know if I've shared this beyond like my immediate circle. I cried every night. I was so far out of my comfort zone. We were doing so many tools and learning Wireshark, learning, I can't remember the name of that mapping software right now, and it's going to bother me, but using those to track intrusions and do network packet sniffing. And I'm like, I don't know what any of this is. And everybody wanted to go out at night, and I was like, I'm going to look at my books because I don't know what this is. And I would just cry alone in my hotel room. But my instructor, Rob Lee, the Dragos Rob Lee, which is where I got my Dragos sticker from.
Okay, you fancy. Okay.
He was my instructor, and he's the CEO of a cybersecurity company. He is insanely and incredibly smart and knows all of this forward and backward. And he was like basically taking me by the hand and being like, let me show you.
Yeah.
Where are you at? And like, let me meet you there. And he ended up giving me and then the two people that I went with the challenge coin for the course. And I was like,
That is so dope.
so I hope I lived up to that expectation of the people that sent me, because man, I tried real hard too. Like so hard. So yeah, shout out to Rob Lee for essentially impacting my career and telling me I could do it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, you're still in the game, so clearly you're doing something right.
Hey, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, you still in the room, and it's hard out here for people, for real.
Yeah, it is.
All right, let's talk about let's talk about junior people.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some junior people. All right, so do you think junior analysts are at risk of trusting AI because it sounds smart, not because it's right?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Because I'm a senior analyst and I'm like, that sounds right.
You're like, there's no discrimination there.
Nope.
Okay.
I absolutely do. And I think some of what's happening too is in these sims where they're creating detections. I hope they're right.
Yeah.
I hope they're correct. I hope they would truly detect the behavior that they say they're going to detect. But unless you're pen testing, and if you have to be, I think, in my experience, a pretty mature org to have like pen testers constantly pen testing your rules and your infrastructure. You hope.
Yeah.
Junior and if senior analysts can rely on it, and we're all moving way too fast because we're all moving or wearing way too many hats and doing more with less. We are relying on it. And so I 100% would hope junior analysts, and from what I know of Gen Z and how incredible they are at questioning things and being like, wait, no.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
I I welcome that challenge, but I can absolutely see where a junior analyst would be like, yeah, sounds right, and move on with their day.
Yeah, I think that would give me anxiety. As you were saying, I think that it would give me anxiety because I think back to my days as an analyst. We won't go back how far that was. That was a little minute ago. I think about being an analyst, and I remember, we didn't have AI. So, I mean, we had AI in the world. We just, didn't have it, obviously. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just remember, you go down your own path, your own kind of like critical thinking and all that stuff, right? And then either it's right or it's wrong, but to an extent, you had your own thought process behind it.
Yes.
I feel like now I'd have such bad anxiety because I'd go through my thought process, but then I'd be like, I'm not sure. Let me talk to AI. And then AI tells you something totally different. And you're like, wait, so I don't know what I'm doing?
Yep.
Like, I feel like that would really mess me up.
Absolutely. And I'm sure junior and people coming into the field, if they did like a cyber degree, are coming in and then seeing AI who knows everything apparently. She didn't even say who. It's not who. That's slippery slope.
Yeah.
But we'll say, no, that's not what you learned was incorrect. And I that would incredibly stress me out. I know you interviewed somebody in CTI, but it was alongside somebody else that you met at IntelliCON last year. And they were really young. And I would
Bertram.
Yes, I would love to hear what Bertram had to say about this.
Bertram's response, let's see. If you watch the episode, all you hear is beep, beep, beep. Bertram's verbatim, I can sum it up. He says, I hate AI, don't use it.
Fair.
The end.
Fair.
That's it. The end. Like, period. So I don't know if since we've spoken to him, his stance has changed, but yeah.
I have a question for you too, because I live in a small town. It is not a tech small town. It is not a tech hub.
Yeah.
People, I think the general sentiment is, what's this AI?
Mm-hmm.
Should we hate it? And I'm like, sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you balance? Yes, in my line of work, I do need to utilize AI because that's what's coming down from leadership. That's what's happening. That is the speed of things. If bad actors are utilizing AI, I need to know about it. With AI is imitating art or putting people out of work, and it's this horrible thing. And I struggle with that juxtaposition. And I'm just curious how you feel and how you talk about AI, because there are two very differing opinions.
No, that's true. So the first part for me, all I can think of when people are like, I'm, going to be totally opposed to AI. I'm going to be this purist and no AI for me. I'm like, to me, that sounds like somebody who was like, I'm not going to use a computer. I'm going to just always write stuff down, or I'm not going to use a computer. I'm just always going to use paper documents to figure stuff out. Like, what? You know what I mean? If you're in a situation where you can work more efficiently and you can work better and everybody around you in your industry is doing that, what do you think is going to happen to you if you don't adopt that?
Yes.
You're going to be moving slow. Nobody wants somebody who's going to move slow, like on purpose.
Right.
And
Exactly.
when it comes to art and stuff, that's an interesting question. But for me, it comes down to AI requires data in order to make anything. So to that point, like, we still need artists. Like,
yes.
like we still need artists because it can only get so much, and especially with all the guardrails they're trying to implement now, so that people's intellectual property is protected and things like that. Like, we're still going to need artists.
Yep. 100%.
And then to that point, it's cool to be an art purist. Now on that side, it's very cool. Like, who's out here like, I'm gonna pay $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for an AI generated image?
Yeah.
Nobody.
No.
Like, nobody. Now I will say graphic designers are in trouble.
Ooh. Fair.
Yeah, I think graphic designers are in trouble, but I like when it comes to like actual like musicians or like painters, people like that. I think they're fine, but I think graphic designers are fucked. Yeah. Respectfully.
Yes. And I think you hit on exactly what I heard recently, which was be the CTI analyst that knows how to make an MCP server then. Because you are going to be the person that they look for. because you can use these tools versus somebody that maybe hasn't adopted them. So be the person, use the tool, know the tool, so that way you can even say, this tool isn't right for this, or okay, we can use it in this way. I think that's going to be invaluable to adapt to.
Yeah, that's fair. And can I take something back?
Always, let's redo it.
So I don't think graphic designers are in trouble. I think graphic designers who don't integrate AI into their workflow are in trouble.
Yep.
Because right now, hi Annie, we're working with somebody who, she's not a graphic designer, she's a true artist. But when it comes to one of the events we're having, Tech in Full Effect, she's doing these crazy graphics,
Yep.
right? But it's a combination of her own creativity and her own knowledge of art,
Yeah.
right? Combined with AI that's creating these graphics. So I will say, I shouldn't say that. I should say, if you're not adopting AI, you're going to be effed.
Yep, exactly.
All right. So I have worked with, I'm reading this right off because I'm going to forget it. I have worked with several cybersecurity teams at this point, especially on the data side, considering where I work. I work at beep, beep, beep. Every analyst I've worked with has emphasized that if they had an endless supply of money, then they would ingest every data source possible. But we all know how, data works and how that goes. There's budgetary constraints, and that's super inefficient. Have you ever advocated for removing a data source or intel feed that everyone assumed was too important to cut? And if you did, what happened after you did it?
Oh, that's such a good question. Thank you. I don't think I've ever advocated, I'm trying to think now, for a feed that people were really interested in or thought was important. I will say we have a pretty good system, at least in Threat Connect, our tip. I don't know if you want to say a brand name, but
That's Tiffany's nickname.
what is it?
Tip.
They have a grading scale for our feeds.
Oh.
And so they'll break down and kind of tag our feeds with what's being ingested and from where. And so then we can see this feed is getting this information from these places. And if it hasn't had any new data in so long, like it reflects in the grade. But then we can also look at all those tags and say, what are we missing?
Okay.
So that's really great. But I do agree with, I'd want all the data.
All the things.
I'd want all the things. Of course, I want because I don't want to miss anything, and I think that touches on our psychology background as well. Because if I remember correctly, there were like 7 data collection biases, and a lot of it too is okay. Well, this is happening. Well, you're only as good as your collection, so you have to be real sure if you're removing a feed.
That's a good point.
Real sure if you're removing a feed. I'm trying to think if I've ever advocated for removing one. Probably just budgetarily moving groups. So if you're like in a group and membership to another group, you just want to try it out.
Yeah, okay.
That would be about it. But then you compare and then you're like, well, I want that group's feedback.
There's so many tools out there right now that are like, their whole thing is, we can cut data and help you save money and do all these things. And so I was just wondering, like, from your perspective, have you ever been in a situation where, management or leadership is just like, hey, this is getting kind of this is getting kind of costly. Like, what can we do? Is there a little something we can cut out? Yeah.
Truly. There have been times where we ask for feeds and don't get them. And I respect that decision because it always comes down to data. What are they going to give us? What gap does it fill? Like, you need to sell this to me. And if you break everything down to just communication, if I didn't express well enough or show you why this feed would be beneficial, I feel like that's kind of on me. But I'd make everything on me. So
Oh, okay. We can dive deeper into this later.
But I'm like, okay, then you didn't see the benefit. You don't want to spend the money because it's not my money. So that's okay. And I'll try, and I take that feedback because clearly I did not present it in the correct way. I know that's way more psych related on me than it is talking about
Right now,
fees.
she's going to make a breakthrough right here on camera.
But I do respect the data-driven mentality of leadership that's like, show me how much time this is going to send you. Yeah, save you? What gaps does it fill? And sell me on this feed. And if I didn't show you and it doesn't come down to brass tacks that it will offset the amount of time and money, we can't get it.
Period.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel that. All right. So now I have some rapid fire questions for you.
You've heard me. Yep. This isn't going to go well. It's going to be slow rapid fire.
Okay. No. Okay. So first one, what parts of CTI work do you think AI will never be good at?
The intel part. I mean, yeah, we have to talk to one another.
That's fair.
Anything that's TLP midnight, aka you hear it and then you go, no, you didn't.
So what's funny about that when I first saw your shirt, because scotoma, I was like TLDR and then it said midnight. I was like, that wasn't very long. I was like, wait, what?
This is actually an Intel group, Curated Intelligence. It says CI down there. Shout out to Curated Intelligence. They're amazing.
That genuinely makes way more sense. It totally does. Okay. What parts of CTI research rely most heavily on human intuition and why are those hard to automate?
Rely on human intuition and why are those hard to automate? Human intuition is going to be a lot of why is that file named one letter different than it should be?
Ooh.
Ooh. Yeah. Because it's not going to get snagged, but you're going to be like, what's that?
Yeah.
There's a lot of one letter different or different executables. Why are they in temp? Why? Why?
Yeah.
There's a lot of intuition that has to come with it. And AI can try really hard and be like, that's an anomalous behavior. But hackers don't do anomalous behaviors. They want to blend in. They want the espionage. They want the data. So I think there's a lot of intuition and that won't be automated. Did that make sense?
No, that totally makes sense. Totally. We could have a whole separate conversation about that, actually. All right. So in 5 years, what skills will separate strong CTI researchers from average ones?
I think it will swing back to not relying on AI. You want to be able to utilize the tools like we talked about, but what's going to separate is if a CTI analyst is only using the OSINT that comes into their tip and then uses AI to filter it out. You aren't talking to people in similar organizations and gaining that trust. So they tell you about their incidents and then you get intel that you would have never gotten from OSINT. Mm-hmm. So I think a above and beyond CTI analyst in 5 years is going to be somebody that still reaches out person to person, but can utilize AI tools.
Ooh, okay. Make sure y'all write that down. You still gonna have to talk to people. Sorry, not sorry. Yes. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. All right. Finally, when intelligence is done well, automation, AI, and humans working together, what does success look like for you?
When it's done well and you put everything kind of together, what does that look like? I think that looks like, this is so boring and so foundational, but the CTI lifecycle is a foundational step for a reason.
Yeah.
Where you are constantly looking at your feeds and tuning your collection, working with processing and how you can automate that intel. Analysis, some AI can be used there, but analysis is going to be a lot of the analyst. Dissemination, you can use AI to help write and sound pretty good, but you're going to need to manually do that.
Okay.
And then the feedback part is what's so important and a lot of people forget. I think all of that working together and then getting feedback on, that sounded way too much like AI. What are you talking about? Or that didn't fulfill the requirement. Let's go back to step one, planning and direction, and keep going. So I think working with automation, AI, human in the loop, what success looks like is working all of that into as seamless as you can get CTI lifecycle, incorporating that feedback and continuing the loop.
Ooh, you should make a t-shirt about this. That was good.
Thanks.
That was a really good answer.
Thank you. I hope so. It was rambly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. Well, yeah. I guess the final last thing is, what do you hope to get out of IntelliCON?
Oh, meeting amazing people like you.
You can go home, girl. It's already happened. We're done. We're done. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for taking the time.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Awesome.
Have a good IntelliCON.
Go lift something.
I will.
All right. Peace out.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming to join us. This is Stats on Stats podcast here at IntelliCON. And we know your name, but can you tell the people out there who you are and what brought you to IntelliCON today?
Yeah, my name is Michal Khan, and I am an ethical hacker, an open source intelligence expert, and I do a bunch of other things, consult to cybersecurity companies, and generally I'm here to spread the knowledge, spread the love about threat intelligence.
Okay. Generally here in the Austin area, or just that's what you love to do?
Generally at conferences, so I tend to fly out a lot to various conferences across, not just the US, across the world, and either speak on cybersecurity or intelligence, and just like to mingle with like-minded folks and spread some education and some awareness.
Gotcha. Okay. So where'd you fly into from today?
From California.
Okay. All right. We made it over here from another sunny area from Florida as well, but that's not what we've been having lately, is it?
Yeah, no, it's the weather's been not very favorable everywhere.
Gotcha. Okay. So, what are your talks going to be on today while you're here?
Yeah, mostly what I talk about is how to find people, things, objects, information, anything basically. I'm really good at finding stuff online, and that's what I talk about. And tomorrow I have a talk around open source intelligence, which is basically using the internet to find information about people, companies, and how to use or misuse that information for bad.
Okay, you have to tell me a story. Use or misuse?
Yeah, so when you hear about all these scams that are happening, whether it's like an SMS scam or like extortion or sextortion or AI-based scams, they usually don't start with just the scam. There's usually a lot of research that's done from a data perspective. The bad guys research, who they want to scam. They look their address up, their names, their phone numbers, their email addresses, and they use one of those things to abuse that piece of information. Sending you a phishing email, sending you an SMS that's not real, talking about your family where they've figured out something on social media that you're part of a certain school or family, or you have a dog or a cat, and then they use and misuse that information to run their scam. And then people get fooled. So my talks are usually around how I can extract information about you, about anyone I know, with very basic pieces of information. If all I know about you is your phone number, I can go from that phone number to everything else, to your entire life, essentially. And then when people realize, oh my God, it was that easy to do, what can you do with it? Like, so what? Then I present both sides of the story. I'm like, well, here's what can go wrong. And I show them what can go wrong because, unfortunately, people only pay attention when they feel a personal threat to something. Yeah. And I'm like, well, this is what could personally go wrong. You could end up losing money, losing your life. There could be a major scam behind this. And then they're like, yeah, it was so easy to abuse this information. How do we protect it? That's the natural next question that comes along. And people don't have a handle on the internet. They'll just post everything online and not know that it can be abused. So I'm that guy who comes and shows people how easy it is to do something called open source intelligence, and kind of scare people with the hopes that they will change and have better privacy habits online.
I got you. So what scares you, Michelle? Because you see this on a daily basis, and I'd have to think, with you being such a public figure, there has to be some concerns with you as well about your data and what you're sharing on the internet. So tell us what makes you, or how do they say, what keeps you up at night? Is that?
I would say physical security threats keep me up at night. It's not that my online email address or something's going to get hacked, because I have a very good system online where most things are either fake or aliases, or they won't affect me. I have alias email addresses, which just means the email address I use to log into my bank account is different than my email address I use for social media, than some junk email or something I subscribe for online. They're all different email addresses. Same thing with a phone number. The phone number that I get an SMS from my bank is different than the one I use to communicate with other people. I kind of compartmentalize the online digital stuff so that I know that I won't be affected by it when it gets hacked, not if, because everyone's going to get hacked. So I'm grounded in reality there. But if my home address gets breached and someone misuses that information, or some of my family members' names or addresses get breached, or my social security number gets abused or whatever, those are things I can't change. You can't change your home address that easily. So that's what kind of keeps me up at night is, what if somebody abuses my home address, hires someone to come to my house and throw a stone? It's literally called bricking as a service. There's a category of crime out there online called crime as a service. And within that category, there's people can hire folks for like $50, $100 online to say, hey, throw a brick at Michelle's house because I didn't like what he said on Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever. Oh. And they can just be like, oh, let's look him up. Here's his address on public records. We know where he lives, so let's scare him. Or there's one called posting or whatever. It's literally they will take animal poop and stuff and place it on your doorstep and run away and burn it, like put it on fire. So surprisingly, these things exist and people are misusing these to kind of either scare you or just as a prank. And there's very little you could do to control that other than the fact that stop oversharing information online.
Got you. You know what's interesting? I'm listening to you talk about that and I think about how on social media, someone they'll upset maybe an audience, and then the audience gets together and they basically find that user. They use photos to do basically OSINT and find those people, and then they post their information online. Like, oh, here's Susie that was in the grocery store talking to this family, disrespectfully. And so now, that's how quickly your data can be out there.
And that's called doxing, what you mentioned, is they're just publishing information, personal information about a person online that others can then use to abuse. So that's a scary thing. Doxing is scary. And then doxing can take an ugly turn called swatting. So that's when you call the SWAT team at your house. And people use your home address to call or impersonate the SWAT team or police and say, hey, I'm about to cause harm to myself or my family members. Here's my address. Come get me. And the SWAT team shows up, guns drawn, gets you on your knees, checks the house. It's an embarrassing situation, but that's unfortunately happening a lot in the US and because of doxing.
Did I hear once that happened to Tesla guy by Elon?
I'm sure it probably did, but it did happen to gamers a long time ago that were playing a game. They had a bet for like $1.50 or something, and one person ended up doxing the other, called the SWAT team on their home, so swatting them, and they swatted the wrong guy because whatever information they found online wasn't up to date, and someone else got shot by the SWAT team. And they accidentally shot him because he raised his hands and he put him in his pocket or something, and one SWAT team member just opened fire. So an innocent person died because of swatting, and it happens quite often.
So doxing, and with you, I'm sure that it's exciting to be able to show people how something so innocent can impact their lives. So could you tell us maybe about a story, or like, what have you seen in these courses where people finally get that light bulb moment and you're like, oh, see, this is working?
So good question, because I run a company that basically provides privacy management. And I've seen so much abuse of innocent information online and no one there to really protect you from it. So I created operationprivacy.com, which is a free online resource where people can go sign up, and it's a glorified checklist of all the things you should do to remove yourself from the internet. And not everywhere, just your personal information. If you have your home information, your phone number, your email address, look for those things using the public resources that I have mentioned there, and then opt out of that. And then, fix up the rest of your life in different stages. There's, the baseline stage where you kind of remove easy stuff that can be Googleable. And then there's people like me who will go beyond just Googling and search the deep web, as we call it. So anything that's not searchable using a web browser, things where you need to kind of log in, or court records or your home records. I could go to your county website and check those. I could go to a voting record and enter your basic information like your full name and your date of birth, which I could find from maybe a Facebook post. Somebody said, happy birthday to you. Cool, now I have your full date of birth because of that. I can use that on a voting record website, put it in, and it'll show me your home address, where you're registered to vote. So there's all these ways to find information. That's the deeper web to find information. And then I teach ways on how to remove yourself from those things. Like if you have a vehicle and a house under your name, don't keep it under your name. Keep it under an LLC or a trust. So have layers of privacy so that people need to pierce through multiple veils, multiple layers to actually get to you. And that's a way of living. And most of my clients, like most of my stories, are based on clients who are in trouble. So divorce cases, child custody cases, a deranged ex coming after them after a divorce, and now they've moved houses, but they figure out where they live and then they threaten them. Or, predator cases. There's a lot of child predator cases, a lot of harassment cases of people who didn't like you online. You said something and now they're just out there to get you. No matter what you do online, they'll try to hack you, they'll try to dox you. Those problems, once they exist, law enforcement can't do much about it. You need to clean up your online presence at that point. I mean, at some point, it's too late when the damage is done, but at least you can prevent the next one.
Got you. And then for you, to me, that sounds like you also get the ability, working with OSINT and this type of intelligence, to also be a hero for some people.
I guess so. I mean, that's why I got into this, because I want to help people. I've been helping people get out of trouble since I was in school. So I actually started this journey to be a cybersecurity professional, to be an ethical hacker, not to cause any damage or malicious means, but to help people. So I was always very tech savvy from a very young age. I grew up around computers. I grew up when the internet was very young in the early 90s. And at that point, I figured out I could break websites pretty easily. I could break games very easily to bypass certain levels for my own personal advantage. But then I found technology to be very vulnerable. And then when some of my friends used to get hacked, they would come to me and say, you're the most tech-savvy person we know. Can you figure out what's going on? Who hacked us? Or why is this not working? Or who's after us? There's a stalker, there's a predator. Can you figure out who they are? And I could. This is like in the 90s, it was so easy to figure this stuff out because the internet was young. Everything was kind of open. So I became that guy who was the savior of everyone else at a very young age. So I said, I like that feeling. I like the feeling of helping people using my knowledge and skill sets. So I got more of that knowledge. I became better and better at it. And eventually I am where I am today, where I have a company, a service that basically does this, that does intelligence, hunts for threats, hunts for people, hunts for bad guys, and protects executives and people of all sorts from being a victim of doxing.
Okay. You grew up in the 90s?
Something around the early 90s. I grew up when there was very little to no social media. Websites were still coming up. So
I did as well. I'm like, unfortunately, I did not have a computer in my house. So hearing you talk about that, did you have a mentor or somebody who placed this computer in front of you and said, hey, Michelle, learn as much as you can here?
Yeah, my dad was my mentor, and my dad used to work for a computer repair shop, and he used to bring home computers, computer parts. So we used to Like me and my brother used to put together computers like from bare bones. So we got to know how computers work, how to install DOS on it and Windows on it and early software. So we were exposed to technology as babies, I want to say. So we were lucky enough to be in an environment where our dad was like, yeah, have at it. You want to break stuff? Go ahead. I'll get more parts or we'll fix it. So we could experiment without the freedom, without the fear of failing. And that was probably the best experience. And that allowed me to kind of keep doing it, like keep failing and then succeeding. And that's how you basically learn.
Got you. Have you found, especially in your courses, that you have people that are sort of new to computing, new to social media and things, and how it impacts them to be able to be a part of your class and kind of know what the dangers are?
Yeah, maybe not new to social media, but new to concepts in technology for sure. So most of my courses, so I teach open source intelligence, like I said, and there's no prerequisite per se. The only prerequisite is to have an open mind when you come in. So whatever you've been taught around, hey, I can Google people with just their name, that's not enough for what I teach. So I teach people how to think different, how to think creatively, and honestly, how to think like a bad guy. Like if you were a person who had nothing to lose and you wanted to find me or what's behind this phone number, or you were very, very motivated, not financially, but emotionally, what are the techniques you would use? What are the boundaries you would cross? And knowing all the techniques, good and bad, makes you more powerful. Like now you can at least protect yourself. You may never use those techniques. That's the difference between an ethical hacker and a malicious hacker. But you need to know how the bad guys think in order to search better, research better, and also protect yourself better. So yes, people come to my class with a very different understanding of how they will learn. And when they finish the course, they're like, it blew my mind because I had no idea that you could look people up using voting records, using the back end of a website. This is how a website works. It uses something called APIs and stuff. And I could look at the network tab and find more information. So I could basically use quote unquote hacking techniques to find information about my adversary. Or, you could use it for good as well by doing research, by doing faster research. And then I'd show them techniques of speed. If you can, find this piece of information in like 5 hours, I could do it in 5 minutes maybe. And I'll teach you how, because I've been doing it for longer. I know shortcuts. I know efficient ways of doing it. I know how to organize my mind when I'm doing this by creating visual mind maps, by having proper note taking, so that they learn the technical side of how this is done professionally and not just as a hobby, and then how to use that information for your purposes, for good, for pen testing, for protecting people. There's a lot of uses for open source intelligence.
Okay. You mentioned earlier that you have a platform where people can go and kind of scrub their data to protect themselves. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, so over the years, I started noting down all the places that I could scrub my data from, all these websites, data broker websites where I could search stuff. So it was actually the inverse of what I did. I did OSINT, so I was good at hunting for people. So all the website I used to use for that, all the tools essentially, I reverse engineered them. I said, if this tool can search for something, this tool also has an opt-out feature. Somewhere in the terms and conditions, there's a way to remove myself from being searched. If my house shows up on Google Street View, I can blur my house. If I'm on a people search website, I can opt out of that. If I'm on social media and everyone can see my profile, I can make it private, so only my friends can see it. So there's a level of privacy I can put in each method that I use to counter that method. So the website I created was operationprivacy.com, which has all those methods and saying, here's what you should do to make your social media life private. Here's what you should do to make your phones more private, because your phones are spying on you. The microphone is recording your stuff. Your apps, any data you put into that is being harvested for other purposes. All right, how do I make that more private? The settings and stuff. What about my laptop? So device privacy, home privacy. infrastructure privacy, like home infrastructure. Do I have tints on my thing? Do I have a camera in my front and back? So that's more safety and security. So I have a lot of tips like that. And it's at the end of the day, it's a glorified checklist that I had of all the things I need to do. I put it on a website so that I can keep track, me personally. And then for everyone else, they can create like a free login and, get the same experience, same dashboard, and start from scratch, start clean. And it's essentially, I'm not taking any data from people. It's a checklist. You perform a task, checkbox it, do the next task. So it's a way of tracking your progress so that you don't give up.
Oh, great. Like that. Before Jordan started signaling me, because he's been asking me this the entire time, I heard that you're using a mask. It's like a Humpty Dumpty mask or something to hide yourself on.
It's more of a smiley. So if you look up some pictures of me online, I take a lot of group photos and pictures of places I go to, and I put a emoji on my face. I mask my face with a smiley, just to keep it funny. I had this challenge a while ago with folks that a lot of people said you can't control the internet. You can't control what goes on it. If my face is on it, if my information is on it, you can't remove it. I'm like, no, you can. You can remove everything you want, and to a level where you can control, you can pick and choose what you want to be online and what you don't want. So I tell people, let's create that balance. I want to be online as a speaker. I'm a public speaker online, so I advertise myself online. I have videos online. I have blog posts and articles. But what if I just want to remove my image? That's a pretty hard task because I'm photographed all the time. So I took it on as a challenge that, yes, I can control the internet. Let me prove it to all the naysayers. So I started removing just my image. Like, obviously, all my personal information has also been removed, but my videos are there. Information about me is there that I want to be public, but images aren't. So every time I took a picture with someone, I'm like, instead of saying, no, I'm not going to take a picture, I will take a picture, but I'll mask it with an emoji and then post it so that when someone's looking me up, they can't find a real image of me, AI generated images and images with a little emoji on it. So one is, it proves my point that yes, I can remove all my face images online. Second, it's okay to still take pictures and still be social with others and also refuse to say, yeah, I don't want my picture online. Because for some people, it is a legitimate threat. For a lot of people who just don't want it because their image or face will be abused because of AI and stuff. For me, it's not. But I'm in a very good position to be a guinea pig for this. I can control a lot of stuff online, so I decided to do it. And till today, like when you Google me, I think I dominate Google's page 1 and 2 with all the results. But if you go to the images section, you don't see a real image of me. You see AI-generated images or emoji-based images, and you can't see it. Since a while ago, I've dropped that challenge, but it's still gone online. So if someone does see a real image of me online, that's fine. Challenge is no longer valid.
You see her over there searching for you.
Yeah, but still, the primary images that you all see is not me, and that's a real threat. So clients come to me and they're like, yeah, how can I remove my face online? I'm a business person. I want to have my presence, but I want this one piece removed. Can you be selective, or is it all or nothing? I'm like, no, you can absolutely be selective. And I give myself as an example, and that's why I kind of had this little challenge going on online.
Perfect. Love it. Okay. When you think about tomorrow, what are you most excited about?
Tomorrow for the talk?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited about blowing people's minds because most of my talks are very realistic. I put together something last minute, which is a current story, current problem that I've had, and I present it in a very demo-driven fashion. So it's not death by PowerPoint, it's not theory, it's none of that stuff. It's me showing you stuff and showing you how I do what I do. So tomorrow I'm going to show stuff about, I'll keep it a surprise, but it's going to be me on a browser showing you how I pivot from one basic piece of information. Here was the problem. I wanted to unmask this person. He's a predator, stalker, or a scammer, or whatever. And here's my workflow. Here's how I did it in a matter of 10 minutes. And when the audience sees that, they're like, I think it's impossible. I think this can't be done. This is a very tough challenge. I'm like, all right, let me show you how I did it and how quickly I did it. And the goal here is to tell people this is absolutely doable if you have a certain mindset and you can do it as well. And now that you know how it's done, maybe you'll take your own privacy a little bit more seriously. And also, when you see this done to criminals, you'll see that there's hope. A lot of people are like, this is a criminal, he stole money, we'll never get it back. All I have is a phone number. I'm like, that's gold. That's all you need, just a phone number or just a name or just that one clue. Let me start somewhere. I remember somebody gave me a license plate number of a hit and run once, and they said, but we don't have the full plate number. I'm like, how much of the plate number do you have? They're like, we didn't get the last 2 digits. We got the first, whatever, 3, 4, 5 digits, whatever.
Yeah.
But we don't have the last 2 digits. I'm like, do you have the state? They're like, we have the state. I'm like, do you know what type of car it was? They're like, we don't know what it was, but it was just like an SUV. It was blue, let's say. Like, that's enough. I'll find out exactly what car it was. They're like, how? You don't have the full plate number. So I tried every version of the last 2 digits of a plate number. I'm like, how many versions can exist? 2 digits, 10 spaces, like 100 different combinations. And there's all these websites where you can like plug in a plate number like Carvana.com or O'ReillyAutos.com. You can actually put a vehicle plate number with a state, and whatever combination, if you get it right, if it exists, it'll show you here's the VIN number of the vehicle and here's the car make and model. So I'm like, I tried every combination through a script, and I got a list of maybe 40, 50 different vehicles. I'm like, you said it was an SUV. There's only 5 of these that are SUVs. You said it was blue. Only one of them is blue. So this must be the vehicle. And this must be the VIN number. From the VIN number, I went to something like a Carfax and saw where they got their oil changed. I'm like, this is where they got their oil changed, which means they must live in a 1-mile radius of this. And then I looked at other car records, breach records, and I found a name, a phone number, and I just pivoted off of everything. And eventually I found the person, and I'm like, here's the person. You want to give them a call and say you did a hit and run? And it was the right person. And I'm like, people thought this information cannot be gotten, but when I broke it down like this, mentally and logically, they're like, wow, this is like, anything can be done. I'm like, yeah, if you know enough ways to do something, stuff like this becomes easy.
Okay. I'm excited. I am excited about tomorrow as well. Some people are probably going to watch this and want to know more about what you do, more about OSINT, the threat intel. So how would they get in touch with you if they're interested in learning more?
OSINT me. No, Google me. I'm active on LinkedIn. So they can add me on LinkedIn. I usually post about conferences where I am, where I will be speaking, so that they can get a heads up. I post stuff on my own website, mishalkhan.com. Those are probably the only 2 places I would direct people to go. And yeah, get in touch with me if you want to know more about me or information around what I do. I'm very responsive on social media. I get a lot of people asking for questions about mentorship. How can I do what you do? How do I, get into this advice-based stuff? And I do a lot of mentorship. So yes, do reach out to me. I'm approachable online.
Awesome. Like, how do you have time?
You have to make time.
Awesome.
I always said no one has time for anything. You have to make time. And then you have time for everything.
Gotcha. What do you do in your free time just to kind of chill out and relax since you make time?
I like to go out with friends, coffee shops, just talk without our phones, without any technology getting in the way. It's not watching movies because that's more technology, that's more screen time, or just going out like outdoorsy stuff, just walking with friends. Basically human interaction. I don't like being alone. I don't just like going out in the wilderness alone doing stuff. No, I like human creative interaction. It's usually just going out to eat with friends is probably the best way. I like to enjoy myself.
Awesome. Got you. Well, thank you. This was great, Michelle. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.